Hello everyone, I am Julio Protopapas and this is my podcast. Today together with us we have Miss Eva Gaffney, financial advisor and founder of PMC. Hello Miss Gaffney, how are you?
Julio, lovely to meet you. Please call me Aoife. Miss Gaffney sounds so
Eva.
formal.
As I said before, thank you very much for your acceptance of my invitation. You are considered a guru in the field and again it's a real honor to have you online. Could you tell us about PNC, a bit about what are you doing with this company? It's related to coaching and money management, mostly about women. And if you could tell us about your current divorce.
Well, PMC stands for Prudence Moneypenny Coaching. So Prudence Moneypenny is my alter ego. She is my superhero. She's like the wise woman who never makes mistakes. You know, she never loses her keys. Her hair is always organized. She always looks fantastic. So she is the person that I aspire to be. So Prudence Moneypenny Coaching is a coaching business aimed at women primarily, but I also deal with couples and men as well. And the coaching business focuses primarily on mindset. So your mindset around money. And we look at limiting beliefs, patterns of behavior, all of the reasons why somebody is not earning the money that they'd like to, or why somebody would feel stuck or blocked. So I use a combination of techniques to achieve transformational results.
Eva, you have chosen mostly women as your clientele, as your niche. Do you think that the difference between going generic and targeting almost everyone, whereas choosing a niche, even a broad niche, such as women, do you think this is a better choice? What's your opinion?
Everybody has a different view on whether you should niche down or not. My personal view is have a target audience. So be clear in your head who your ideal client is. What do they look like? What kind of hair do they have? What do they eat? Where do they go? It doesn't mean you are excluding other people, but it gives you focus. So it's better to attract one client than no clients. And when you attract that one ideal client and you do an outstanding job and you are of service, that client will then refer you on.
I've heard of people who just do referrals up to one point in their careers, and that's awesome. All their traction is via referrals. Okay. Eva, in the past, following university, in the past decades, one would practice a profession and until they retired. Nowadays, we have constant education, which is the norm. How can one stay ahead in the game and filter so much information out there?
It's like in my parents' time, you had one job. So you went into your job at 18 and you fell out the door at 65. So those days are long gone. And now people have what are called like a portfolio career, and they have these portfolio CVs or resumes. So I think staying ahead of the game is do what you love. It doesn't have to be the next new shiny thing, but be willing to be open-minded. And a book that absolutely changed my life and changed my view on the world of employment is a book called Making a Living Without a Job by Barbara Winter.
Okay.
So I'll email you across the book title so you can put it, you can share it with your listeners. And I read that book probably about 15, maybe nearly 20 years ago now. And it is literally about how to make a living without a job. And I just thought, God, there are so many different ways that I can earn. And it's like everybody is different. And at the moment, I'm juggling several businesses. And I probably always will.
That changed my mindset initially. By Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I have a copy of it behind me.
10x2 by Grant Cardone. There are many.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Think and Grow Rich. There's another version because the book it can be a little bit tricky to read. Sharon Lecter has a fantastic version, and it's called Think and Grow Rich for Women. So it's a bit more modern, more contemporary, and easier to digest, and the message is just as wonderful.
Great, great. Okay. When it comes to money management, would you say that it is a trait that is kind of inherent? Do you think that it is mainly taught during our childhood? And to what extent can it be taught afterwards? What do you think?
A lot of our patterns of behavior come from our parents or our caregivers, because not everybody was brought up by their parents. So a lot of our patterns come from what we learned when we were growing up. But those patterns can be changed. And I'm a big fan of Bob Proctor and his program, the Thinking into Results program. And we can change our patterns, we can change our paradigms.
Most
The
of us.
first thing we need, absolutely, we just need to make a decision. So again, in Think and Grow Rich, it's about your first step is the desire. So do you want to change? And then you make that decision. And the rest, then hire a coach to help you with the rest.
Correct. Very well. All right. A sort of specific question that I wanted to ask is regarding a loan ratio. We see nowadays individuals that's especially in Greece and Cyprus, that would take a loan for almost any kind of reason, not the primary one such as a mortgage. What would you consider a good loan ratio for an investor, for an individual? What do you think?
I'm not a big fan of loans and debt, but if people who read the work of Robert Kiyosaki would have a different viewpoint. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, so Robert Kiyosaki believes in leveraged debt. So everybody has mixed views about loans and debts. I personally am not comfortable with loans and debts because I had a very poor history with debt, which is one of the reasons I do what I do, because I did what I did rather badly. And like I said, everybody is different. But if you are going to borrow, then do whatever it is, borrow in alignment with your values. So if you value education, then and you wanted to invest in yourself, then absolutely borrow the money to invest in yourself.
Very famous in the States, I think.
Yeah, we've a slightly different system in Ireland. So our debt ratio is lower than other countries, and education here is considerably cheaper than in America. So in America, people carry debt from school and college with them nearly into their 50s, but then starting salaries are much higher, where in Ireland, education is expensive, but in relative terms, it's considerably cheaper than other countries.
Okay, very well. Speaking about professionals such as financial planners, do you think in today's remote environment, virtual worlds, and all this, that is considered a fruitful landscape? But do you think that the optimal stance to have is a combination of the digital and live interaction? What do you think over this matter?
At the end of the day, we are people, we are humans, and human beings like to interact with other human beings. So we like to be with people like us. So I think a combination, and I've always worked with a bit of a combination of remote working, on-site working, and it would often be seen running around the city with my laptop under my arm from Wi-Fi hotspot to Wi-Fi hotspot. So I quite like the flexibility, but there's a big difference between working from home, which is trying to balance cooking the dinner, feeding the cat, looking after your children and the doorbell, and remote working, which is maybe working from a co-working space, or working from a dedicated space that's easy for you to get to and has really, really good broadband and a good coffee machine.
Okay, very well. Eva, is there anything I haven't asked? Definitely there has to be something that I haven't asked, but is there something that can come as an advice, as a final thought for my audience?
Well, people ask me, what should I invest in? And my answer is always invest in yourself. So read the book, hire the coach, do the course, listen to the podcast, feed your mind as much as you would feed your body. And always be working with a coach of some description. Tiger Woods apparently was working with 14 coaches at one point. Even though he was the best in the world, he still worked with coaches. So always be looking to up level. There's always room for more.
Perfect. All right. Eva, thank you so much for your time today. A real pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Speak soon. Goodbye for now.
Absolutely.
Thank
Bye.
you.